Hello, Com 105 class. This is Joseph Costa here, a digital native, and I interviewed my dad, who is a digital immigrant, and I asked him the 4 basic questions that you said that we could ask. So, number 1, he said no one had cell phones back then. He said that he used a payphone, and that wasn't really reliable because no one would answer their phone, and they didn't have messaging machines and to leave a message or something like that. He says it wasn't easily as accessible as like today was. He also said there was no GPS, so he used the map for things. So he had to be better organized and rendezvous, say time and setting. So that was all he said for number 1. Number 2, he says, how has their access to media changed? He said the newspaper stayed the same. Not all-day news, like we don't have the all-day news channels. He said that there was once a night, half hour at night, nightly news. There was a radio news station that he said was pretty boring. There wasn't any instant news like we have today with constant updates of breaking news and stuff. He said if there was breaking news, it would interrupt broadcasting, and that's all he said for that. Number 3, what role does choice play in today's mass media? He says more choices to cast an opinion on. He says before 1988 there was a fairness doctrine that was if you had to express an opinion, you had to allow someone of the opposite opinion free air, and you don't want to give free air to the person that's trying to prove you wrong. So after that, he said there was opinion channels, and that's when channels like Fox, CNN, CNBC, and a multitude of conservative news networks. Number 4, when it comes to impact, does mass media have a greater impact on our lives and society today as it did 15, 20 years ago? He says yes, because now it's constant and it's all over the place. He says even if you didn't watch the news, there will always be someone who said and tell you what the news said and stuff like that. And then, question on my own, I was like, what was it like when you were 18? And he said, more wonderful than my imagination can inveigh for you. And he says that today liberal media pushes abnormal, weird, things, saying that they're correct. I don't want to talk about political issues, but that's just my dad. And then I said, do you think it was better that we have all this mass media today than it was back then? And he said, yes and no. Yes, because it's more, you can be informed more easily, you can more knowledge and content, and there's more communication. But he also said no, because it quickens the pace of life and cannot escape the world's problems. Like if you wanted to get away or just not hear the news, it's hard for that to do that. Well, anyway, that was my video, and that was my interview with a digital immigrant. Thank you, and goodbye.